Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
We are gearing up to The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 9, finally coming back on AMC. And this video is about setting the course, making some predictions, trying to figure out what in the world they're going to do with what are a couple of complicated situations.
Yeah.
We've got the very complicated situation that includes the likes of Daryl and Carol being stuck amidst the massive zombie horde orchestrated by Alpha and the Whisperers.
Yep.
That's not something anyone wants.
No, they were looking for this horde and they found it.
Congratulations. It just also happens to be in a cave where there may not be any other feasible way to escape, and
Yep.
also Alpha may set the entryway on fire.
Yeah.
Also, what's happening with Michonne? Is she potentially leaving sooner rather than later? We know that she'll be gone at some point over this final stretch of episodes, so
Yep.
we'll look and discuss that as well. Before we dive in, though, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. Let's just start, though, kind of just big picture about the show itself, because I was kind of iffy entering Season 10 as to what was going to work
Yep.
post-Andrew Lincoln era.
Yep.
I'm not saying every episode has been perfect, but I've been kind of pleasantly surprised. I think it's going in an interesting direction.
No, I agree. I really wasn't sure how things were going to go. And of course, I love Andrew Lincoln and I loved him being on the show. But this season, it actually has been pretty good. There's been a lot less, let's go on a supply run. And
Yeah.
that just felt like the majority of the episodes a lot of the time earlier on. And it seems like we've gotten past that right now. There's actual things going on, them living life, dealing with things, figuring things out, trying to grow as different communities. This has been a very good season so far.
It feels like there are actual tangible arcs, and I think that
Yeah.
sort of really helps to make up for the fact that occasionally a character will show up and I'll know somewhere in my mind I'm supposed to remember who this person is, but because it feels like we have 200 characters on The Walking Dead sometimes, it takes me a minute to be like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was getting kind of just frustrated with, maybe season 9, season 8, 7, even around there. It was just, there were so many characters and they had killed off so many people that by the time we were losing people, it was like, I don't even know who this is. And you'd be like, oh, he's been in 25 episodes. I'm like, really? Because I just don't even remember who people are anymore. So when they're killing people off, they've been in 25 episodes. I'm just like, I'm not invested right now. So they've done a very good job sort of focusing in a little more on characters and really letting us get to know people and get invested in people. The threats are really very real this season. It just feels like they found some good footing.
And that's a good sort of jumping off point to what's happening with Carol, because there are a lot of different ways to look at this sort of whisperer cliffhanger where we knew this zombie horde was out there and we knew that there was a search that was underway in order to find it.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain degree of recklessness on Carol's part at the moment because...
A certain degree.
Yeah, a very large degree. I am the master of understatements, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, she was being completely reckless. You are right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great. And she has single-handedly put them all in this position.
Yeah.
If you see Alpha and you're on her land, do not follow her. She is going to lead you into all kinds of problems. She knows the land, you don't, so just don't.
And I think the reason why this all works is because it's not a smart idea for Carol to do this in a lot of ways, but she's got so much tunnel vision, and they've made this all about a very specific motive, which I like. This is not just Carol being ridiculous.
No.
It's Carol, she's very obviously distraught about Henry and what happened. She wants to get vengeance on Alpha via whatever means necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, it even stretches further than that because she was living this life that gave her a lot of hope and a lot of, she's called it this fantasy where she was, part of the king and the queen of the kingdom with their son and this whole group of people that were all living together in harmony, and it was just everything collapsed. everything. She lost her marriage, she lost her relationship, she lost her son, she lost the kingdom. Now it's all gone, and she's sort of back to being this lone wolf, except now there's revenge on top of it.
And, the question I'm sort of stuck with is that I don't obviously feel like The Walking Dead is killing off Daryl and Carol in the mid-season premiere. There will be revolts throughout all of America if that happens, but could someone else die? How do you get out of this situation? Because it really feels like this is a pretty successful plan on Alpha's part. If you leave them in there and there's no real way out, what do you do?
I'm just thinking that there has to be some sort of a way out of there. They may not know what it is, and she's got it as some sort of secret, but because this is her horde and she's been sort of collecting walkers and putting them in here for whenever she needs to unleash this, there has to be a way to get them out. And I don't think she's going to be pulling them out of a hole one by one. There's got to be something. My worry is that it's on the other side, because they're kind of up a little bit of a level, and then there's the entire zombie horde. So I feel like she's funneled them in from whatever's at the other end of that.
That's a pretty good idea, and I think this could actually lead to something really epic and awesome if they pull this off correctly, because it could sort of be one of these moments where maybe Carol MacGyver's something together and they come up with this really just cool visual way to sort of navigate through all these zombies. Because I don't think they're going to be able to take all these zombies out. There's
no way.
There's just way too many of them, and as much as, we're talking about realism in a show featuring zombies, it has to be realistic within the world that they've created, right?
Yes.
And so I'm really kind of excited to see how they build this sort of metaphorical structure or this plan or whatever else, and that's going to be a big part of this premiere to me.
Yeah.
But the question beyond that is, do you still have 8 episodes worth of story for Alpha and the Whisperers at this point? Because they've been around for a good while now.
Yeah, they have been.
And, I mean, eventually we've seen this with The Walking Dead over time. They never stick with one big bad story forever. They kind of move towards something else. Do you think there's value in wrapping this up maybe around episode 12, 13, maybe giving us something new to tee up season 11?
Yeah, I think they're going to stretch it out till close to the end of the season and then tee up something new. That's kind of how they go. And I mean, this has been going on a while. It has been engaging for the most part. This isn't like when we had Negan come in, and he came in for those 2 seasons as the big bad, and by the end of it, it was really dragging on. Like, it didn't feel the same anymore, which was kind of when I was getting a little bit like, meh, with this show. I think that Alpha is still engaging at this point.
Yeah.
And I do think it is going to wrap up this season. I mean, with Negan becoming kind of part of that group, it's just such a weird fit. Like, I'm not saying that they're necessarily going along with the comics. They have diverted from them so far that it doesn't even really, like, it's hard to look to them anymore for what's going to happen. But it just feels like this is not the type of situation or group or living situation that he is going to want to be in permanently. It feels like something else is going on here, that maybe he is trying to get close to Alpha, try to figure something out, either get information, get her head on a spike. I don't know what he's going to try to do, but like, I do not believe for a second that he wants to live like this.
I don't either. I think there needs to be closure with all of this, and I think there probably needs to be closure by episode 14 or so. That way you have a couple more stories to tell, to set up the future, because it's sort of like, you make the comparison with the Negan arc for 2 seasons. It reminds me a lot of these superhero shows, especially the ones on the CW, where you have like 22 episodes in a season, and they try to stretch out some of these villain arcs for a full 22 episodes, and then it's like episode 15 and 16, and you're running out of stuff to do with them, and you just start doing these weird detours.
Yep.
Sometimes less is more with these arcs, and I mean, as great as Alpha has been, and I think Samantha Morton has killed it as this character.
Oh, yeah, she has.
I think at a certain point, it does feel like, okay, we've seen enough of them, let's jump forward to the next thing. So I hope that they do that. We already know some stuff that's potentially going to be coming in the future. I mean, we certainly know that Maggie's coming in the future.
Yeah.
Not exactly a villain, but somebody who I'm very excited to see back in the show.
No, it's cool to have somebody actually coming back. I mean, usually when you leave the show, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead, you're gone, and you just don't ever see you again.
Yeah.
But speaking of someone who is leaving, I think this is the last sort of pre-mid-season topic we have to really strongly consider, and that is, how will The Walking Dead write out Michonne? She's probably gone by the end of the season. That hasn't really been a secret for a while now. The last we've sort of seen, she's going on this journey with Virgil. He's got sort of his place on the islands that she's kind of heading off to. What could she find there that actually might want to reconsider the way of life she's living now?
Yeah, my theory is that she's not going to leave her kids. Like, I know she's left them right now, but I don't see a situation of how they're going to make me believe that she's going to leave her son and Judith, who's her daughter, that she is actually going to leave them behind and go off and do something else. I don't believe it. So my theory is that she's going to go over with Virgil, that it is going to be exactly what he said it's going to be. His family's going to be over there. There's going to be a really nice, sort of just simple way of life over there. They have maybe garden, maybe they have a couple animals. It's pretty safe. They're on an island. They have been able to fortify it pretty well, whatever it is. And they're just really good people, just kind of living a real simple life out there. And because they're on an island, you can't really get to them. There's no real Negans and fighting with the alphas, and because those people have to go really far out of their way to deal with this. My feeling is she's going to go over there, see that, really fall in love with that way of living, go back, get the kids, and that's going to be that.
There's a part of me that thinks that's going to potentially be the case. The other part of me is thinking, okay, maybe she's going to go out there and maybe she's going to find just some sort of clue that Rick Grimes is still out there and she wants to look for him. I mean, if there was an explanation, because this is what I'm trying to think about here, because RJ, I mean, I think The Walking Dead's fine without RJ. I mean, he's so young. It's hard to really do anything with that character. Judith, I think the show can survive without Judith, but she's also, she's got the hat. They're trying to make her the new Carl.
Listen, if it can survive without Rick, then it can survive without Judith. And that's no slight against Judith. Judith has been a fun character to have come in and, yes, represent what we lost in Carl. And her relationship with Negan has been, kind of fun to watch. I mean, for me, there's no redeeming Negan. There isn't. But it's been fun to watch, but if she went off with Michonne, it is not going to end the show.
It won't end the show. I just don't know if The Walking Dead is going to see that as, okay, we've now sort of taken away every direct connection to Rick Grimes in some shape or form, and I don't know. And I think the only explanation I can think of for Michonne not bringing Judith with her wherever is she's off somewhere trying to track down Rick, and it's too dangerous to bring the kids along. But that's still potentially a stretch.
Yeah, I just feel that as important as Rick's story has been throughout The Walking Dead, and it has been extremely important, that the show has now grown past him and past the family.
I think that's probably the case. I think it all kind of comes down to that question. I think we ask this question a lot on a lot of these videos. Whose story is The Walking Dead? Is The Walking Dead the story of the community? Is it the story of Rick Grimes and those he left behind? Is it the story of Daryl at this point? I mean, whose story? Is it the story of the Walkers? As weird as that is to say. I think that's something that the producers and the writers now, many of whom weren't there at the very beginning at this point, I think that's something they all kind of have to figure out now, especially as we approach what I'm assuming is going to eventually be the end game. We know there's a season 11.
Yep.
I feel like there will probably be a season 12, but, we're closer to the end of this show, I think, than we are the beginning at this point.
Yeah, we are, but at the same time, I mean, they're coming out with the Rick Grimes movies. There's all these spin-offs. There's Fear the Walking Dead. I don't see it slowing down. Like, yeah, there's season 11. I can see this going another 13 or 14 or 15. I don't think we're going to have Walking Dead season 20 or 50 or whatever. But I just don't think it's out of steam yet.
I just think that if they do continue, at least with sort of the quality level we've gotten for a lot of season 10, there's a lot of juice that's left in the show. And yes, we're all going to be subjected to jokes of, oh, that show is still on, and oh, that show, because people always love to do that anytime a popular show loses some of its audience. But you know what? If the people who are still watching love the heck out of it, who cares what other people have to say about it? Just keep it going if you're making money on it.
There's clearly still, squeeze in the fruit at this point. If they're bringing out more sequels and the Rick Ryan movies, it is still making money. So
we shall see where the future goes. But we have 8 episodes to get into very, very soon. And with that, what do you guys think is coming on The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 9 and beyond? Share your predictions in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we'll see you here next time.